I'm actually introducing the Touch Mix TM16 from QSC. It's our first introduction to our digital mixer. Basically, it is a 16 input, 16 mono input with 2 stereo inputs, as well as 8 auxiliary mono sends plus 2 stereo auxiliary sends. It is effectively a with a stereo output. I apologize. It is a touchscreen mixer, so in order to navigate and actually mix on the mixer itself, you actually go through. We'll get back to the mix surface. This is the main navigation system for the mixer. You actually start off by hitting, you see right now we're looking at banks 1 through 8. Just tap the button, go to the next bank. That's our stereo input as well as stereo recording levels. This is our actual effects engine return. This is basically the effects return coming into this back into the stereo mixer. This is our overall aux sends. And then a unique feature on a mixer that's about this size is the DCA control. So you can assign all the inputs to various DCA channels, so that way you can mix all 16 channels from one touchscreen. You don't have to toggle back and forth to control each of the screens. So now, once you actually get to a specific channel that you want to look at, you select the channel. You can actually just grab it, move the fader up and down, or you can use the encoder knob to actually control the fader. Now, actually looking at the channel strip itself, you basically just hit. You just hit the channel itself. Now, these are all the parameters for that channel. So to start off with, you have your EQ page. With the EQ, you have the default is basically what we call an advanced user. This will actually give you your separate gain, frequency, and bandwidth control on the 4 bands of EQ, plus a high and low frequency filter. Or you can actually go to simple mode, and it basically just turns it into a basic tone control. So that's more for like someone who's just learning how to mix for the first time. So to disable, you just bring it back. When you're looking at a channel individually, you actually will have the input fader visible all the time, as well as your master fader visible all the time. So you will always have control of your mix at any point in time as you're looking through. So the next parameter that we have is a compressor. You can turn the compressor on, compressor off. So when the compressor's on, you actually have your threshold, attack, release, and compression ratio. The unique aspect of how we lay out the compressor is that you can actually look at it in a timeline base. So this would be as how compression would react to an audio waveform going through. So to start off with, you actually have your ratio. So you can actually see at what point, once the audio crosses that threshold, you actually start to see the onset of compression. So the next step would be your attack, a very fast attack, very slow attack. You can see there's a little curvature. That's where the threshold and release meet. That is basically the knee control of the compressor. You can turn the knee off, so now it actually has a hard point where the compression actually hits, or this softens the onset of compression. The next is actually the release. You can actually lengthen the release all the way out to 1 second or 5 milliseconds. Not only can you use the fader, the control on the touchscreen, but you can actually use the master encoder. And if you want to make fine changes to any of these, you press down the master encoder and then turn. Now you can actually do increment or decrement in a more finer control. And again, you still have your input and master all visible while you're controlling the parameter for that channel. We have a gate, same concept in a time base, and gating, you basically have the same type of parameters. Your threshold, your attack, release, and then the attenuation is how much, once the gate closes or starts to close, how much does it actually cut off. So And then the effects. There are 4 effects engines built into the mixer. Each effects engine, you have 6 effects processors that you can assign to each one of those engines. So basically we have chorus, we have 3 different reverbs, and then we actually do have a pitch correction, which actually functions as an insert onto that channel. So if someone's a little bit pitchy, or if you're trying to fix some intonation, you can insert the pitch shift, and then you can adjust the parameters for the pitch shift. So now you actually have the aux send. This is all the aux sends that are available on that particular channel. And you see that you actually have 6 mono and then 2 stereo. Then within the stereo, you can actually pan between left and right on the stereo. So this is your level, this is your pan control. So this is where this particular input would come out on either more on the 10 or the 9 side, or the left or the right side. The default is that they're all set to post, but by toggling the button, you can set it to pre. So that way you can set up basically your own monitor mix. The other benefit actually is now we can look at the library. We don't really have any presets stored, but basically once the user starts actually creating their own user presets, they can actually start recalling and presets to be able to be recalled on the audio channel itself. Then the mixer, this is the actual setup portion of that particular channel. This is where you can change the name of the channel, so you actually do have a write strip. Then this is where you would actually toggle as far as if you're doing a stereo linking, if you're having 48 volts applied, so for phantom power, normal polarity, so you can change the input polarity, so change the polarity from between pins 2 and pins 3 on the XLR input. And then this is actually where you can assign your DCAs as well as mute groups for each individual channel. Then if you're trying to set up the mixer for the first time, you can use these toggle arrows to go to the next channel. Or to get back, you just hit the home page and go back to your input. And again, you can select the You just actually select the channel that you want to manipulate, hit the name to bring it up to the actual channel strip. Once you're done manipulating, just hit the menu, then you get back. So you can basically navigate the whole mixer within about two touch screens. The other real benefit too is we actually have a wizard. The wizard is basically a way to be able to enable the effects setup. This screen is actually still in development, but basically what we can do is we can assign. You basically look at the effects engines up on the top here, and with the effects engine, now you can assign what channel you want to go to that effect. And when you assign it, it automatically sends the audio to that engine and brings it to the effects return. So we can actually assign input 1, input 3, and say input 6 to that effect. And see, now we have audio coming back into that return. So it's just a quick way of being able to route audio from your input to an effect and then bring it back to your main mix. So it's a pretty big mixer in a small format. So we can go back. We actually do have a Q, or what your headphones send. In order to access the Q mix, basically bring up your headphones. This is your level control. For the monitors, you just hit the monitor send. That's your level control for your monitor output. These are stereo outputs. So it's a stereo 1/4-inch output. So tip would be left, ring would be right, and then the sleeve would actually be your common negative. So it is effectively an unbalanced stereo output. This can drive headphones directly on both outputs, or you can actually drive a powered monitor system. So if you're mixing in your home, you're practicing, you can actually have this come out, just do a pair of studio monitors. So it's a very powerful mixer. You guys have any questions? Yeah. Okay. My name's Kirk Fivey. I'm actually with a system support engineer with QSC. I'm on the tech support side of QSC. So, as far as the overall mixer, the price point on that is going to be roughly about $11.99. I believe it's the map price. I don't have an official release date yet, but it will be coming out very soon.